Smaller budget indie games are growing rapidly, and some even giving tough competition to major big budget titles. That's why I have made a list of the 13 must-play AA indie games that you can't miss. There are also some bonus games at the end, so let's look at the first game on our list. Evil West. You'll be surprised when you first look at this game. Evil West instantly smacks you with a combination of God of War and Red Dead. The game's focus is to beat down enemies with flashy combos and a lot of action. You've got a lot of cool weapons and every kill feels like a blast. There are a lot of moments where you feel the entire game is about moving forward and just blasting enemies. However, it's no doubt that Evil West does offer a great storyline which kind of serves as a basic plot for the whole game. Don't get me wrong, the story is engaging, but you won't be captivated like other amazing games such as God of War, Witcher, or RDR. In my opinion, the story is more of a side element that keeps you going. My only favorite thing was to do kill enemies in style. It was such a nice feeling to use different combo attacks. The sheer thrill of knowing that you can kill anyone is exciting. Briefly, you're in a spin-off supernatural world of the Old West. Instead of slinging bullets at outlaws, you're battling hordes of vampires and other creatures. The environment is a mix of Wild West vibes with a horror twist that keeps things fresh and exciting. What really stands out is how this AA game rivals some of the major AAA titles. Even though Evil West isn't a huge deal, it still serves as a decent choice for anyone who just wants to have fun and engage in an action gameplay with the core focus on blasting enemies. You're basically a monster hunter outlaw who's trying to save the world by some kind of evil. So throughout the game, you'll be traveling to a lot of different areas, each with their own different environments and enemy types. Control. This one is more of a bizarre level action supernatural game. Control is the best choice for the players who love a mix of mystery, supernatural, sci-fi, and thrilling elements. You've got a crazy awesome character who has some cool telekinesis powers, which means that one thing is for sure, the combat is going to be epic. You can do anything with your mind powers, throw random stuff, levitate enemies. I mean, there's really a lot of amazing stuff that keeps you hooked throughout the gameplay. Every moment in Control feels like you're in some kind of mysterious environment where the reality is completely different. Everything is constantly changing or shifting, which keeps the gameplay fresh. The entire plot of the game is to explore this mysterious building to find your lost brother. Basically, you enter a federal building looking to find some clues about your brother, but then you discover that there's something weird going on. It's a really mind-bending story. You need to combine all sorts of clues that you're going to find from various documents and audio tapes. Now, one of the most important reasons I love Control is because despite being a AA game, it feels like a full-fledged AAA game. Everything is put together in an exciting manner that players can't help but feel attached to. There's a lot of suspense and mystery elements to the story. The combat is blast as you can do several amazing things with your telekinesis powers, and the setting is a mix of dark and horror. If you guys love diving into a sci-fi mix of supernatural elements, then Control will be a great choice. SIFU. I'm a huge fan of this game. The first time I played this game at the time of release, I had a hard time completing it, but every moment felt precious. However, when I played it again in 2024, I couldn't believe how easy it all felt, but this could also be because I already completed this game once. If this is your first time, then get ready to die a lot of times and replay each level. I know that for some players the game probably feels repetitive or boring, but I honestly can't say anything. The focus of the game is to get better and complete it while keeping a check on your age. SIFU introduces a new mechanic where you grow older each time you die, resulting in increasing your attack power and reducing your health. Therefore, you must replay and finish each stage by staying as young as possible. The game never lets you grow bored and promotes a competitive desire to improve and get better. SIFU takes the cake in terms of combat and gameplay. You will fall in love with the martial arts moves. The more you progress, the more amazing moves you can unlock to make the game more exciting and a bit easier. A bonus tip would be to dodge instead of parrying if you're having a hard time. Overall, if you're someone who loves a great combat with perfect gameplay, then SIFU SIFU is the game you should play next. There are 5 stages in total, and each of them has their own final boss with unique attack patterns. HellBlade Senua's Sacrifice. The first HellBlade game will always be special. It gave us something completely different. I remember when I first played this game, I thought that HellBlade is going to be a third-person adventure focused with horror elements. However, it's so much more than that. One thing is for sure that either you're not going to like this game and will quit it in the first few hours, or you will love everything about it and will see the credits roll. HellBlade is a game that's not for everyone. There are a lot of puzzles which will be a turn-off for some players. Then there's great storytelling, but in a different manner. You will hear noises in your head. That's one of the reasons why the game must be enjoyed with headphones on. Honestly, I want to say that if you're familiar with these types of games, then there's nothing to worry about. However, if it's your first time playing something like HellBlade, then it's going to be one hell of a ride, but you need to be patient and enjoy the moments. Not everything in the game is exciting, some puzzles will feel boring and the gory scenes aren't for everyone. Despite all this, we can never disagree that the game is bad. One of the reasons we got a sequel is because of the success of the original. The sounds, the environments, the visuals, the main character, and the storyline, everything is right on point. From start to finish, you will get hooked into this immersive linear world. Asterigos Curse of Stars. This indie action RPG really caught me by surprise. When I first jumped into it, I wasn't expecting much, but it quickly grew on me. The game's world has this mix of ancient Greek and Roman vibes, with a touch of fantasy that feels unique. The story is a bit emotional and sort of struggling. You play as a character who's trying to find her father. Along the way, you will unlock some cool characters and even some lore details. The exploration is another highlight, with beautiful areas that compel you to see each corner and find secrets. It's not the biggest game out there, but it's packed with enough content to keep you engaged. The art style is colorful, which contrasts nicely with the darker themes of the story. If we talk about the combat, then it's enough to get you throughout the game. It's straightforward but satisfying, with a good variety of weapons and skills that let you switch up your playstyle. I enjoyed the challenge, especially in some of the boss fights that required a bit of strategy. The game isn't as punishing as Souls-like, but it still has that rewarding feeling when you overcome tough enemies. Asterigos is a solid game, especially for those who love action RPGs and are looking for something different from the usual big budget titles. It might not have the polish of a AAA game, but it's got heart, and that's what kept me playing until the end. Remnant from the Ashes. The original Remnant is my favorite game. No matter what anyone says, the first part is a great game. There are so many things that are better in the first part. The game is like a mashup of Dark Souls and third-person shooting. You're dropped into a world where everything is evil and it's out to get you. Bosses, enemies, even the environment can be hostile sometimes. Remnant focuses on making you feel like you're just one mistake away from a brutal death, but that challenge is what makes it so addictive. The game combines tight third-person shooting mechanics with an atmospheric, almost Souls-like approach to combat. You'll need to be quick on your feet and smart with your resources, as enemies can be unforgiving and the environment is packed with traps. What made the game stand out is the procedurally generated element. Every playthrough can feel a bit different because the areas, loot, and enemy placements are never exactly the same. This adds a lot of replayability and keeps the experience fresh. You've got a ton of weapons and gear to choose from, each with its own unique traits. You can choose your preferred playstyle, whether you want to focus on heavy damage or a stealthier approach. It's a great pick if you enjoy games that challenge you and offer a dark, immersive experience. I really loved how a brand new underrated game got this popular and gave us such nice content. Vampyr. This one is a classic, thrilling vampire-themed game. The game puts the fate of London into your hands. You play as a doctor with vampire powers during the Spanish flu period. It's nice to see our main character juggle his duties as a doctor and his thirst for blood. The story reveals around him as he handles his newfound powers while battling other vampires or supernatural beasts, along with human criminals. Every choice you make in the game can have consequences. You can either kill NPCs and take their blood or let them go. As you progress through the story, you will eventually need to satisfy your thirst for blood, resulting in making some heavy choices. Depending on your choice, the game shapes itself. I personally like this game as it is a slow-paced, single-player game that lets you freely explore the idea of becoming a vampire in a dark London where the inhabitants are suffering from sickness. Mostly it's about finding a cure and truth about the ongoing disease while dealing with your own vampire superpowers. Your ethics and decisions will always get tested as the game gives you choices between staying faithful to your doctor's oath and the thirst for blood. Every life saved or taken has ripple effects throughout the city.
It is the curse of the goddess. It is the hunger in you, the need for blood.
9 Souls. A brand new game and a must-play for the players who love gorgeous art design. The game's got this beautiful hand-drawn art style that pulls you in right from the start. 9 Souls is kind of similar to Hollow Knight, but it does offer a different environment setting. It's like a mixture of Cyberpunk and Hollow Knight. You experience a world with mythical elements combined with the sci-fi system. You play as this awesome warrior who's out for revenge, slicing through enemies with a smooth combat system that's all about timing and precision. It's got that satisfying feel where every hit counts, and when you pull off a combo or dodge at the last second, it just clicks. As the game is kind of platforming, the tension is there, but it's not frustrating at all, so you will always be on your toes getting better and progressing further. What really stands out is the story. It's got this mystical touch, and sometimes you feel like the entire story is unraveling as you progress. All this creates a sense of keep going and never whoop because you get hooked to the game, and the only way to unlock the story is by keep on playing the game. Anyways, 9 Souls is a pretty decent choice if you have played all the major Metroidvania games. You will also get updated quality as the game was just recently released. It's still brand new. Hollow Knight. This game has got to be the most popular Metroidvania games of all time. It's always a refreshing feeling to explore the world and stumble upon some hardcore boss. The enemies in this game are no joke. No matter how much better you become, there is always someone who's got the upper hand. Hollow Knight is one of those games that anyone can play and will also be a great entry point if you are planning on entering the genre. It feels like an adventure where you can truly immerse yourself in. When you first enter the game, you will probably get a feeling of overwhelm as everything feels too much. The world is a blend of dark, eerier, and a bit of thrill. However, after a couple of hours, you'll start to get the hang of everything, and that's when the games become exciting. The gameplay is tight and the combat feels really satisfying. It's all about timing your attacks, learning enemy patterns, and mastering your abilities. Speaking of which, the abilities you unlock are awesome. They not only make you feel more powerful, but also open up new areas to explore, which is one of the coolest things about the game. There's always something new to discover. Hollow Knight is a masterpiece if you're into Metroidvania games. It's one of those games where you can lose yourself for hours just exploring and enjoying the experience. Bright Memory. When I first played this game, I was truly surprised by how linear and full of action it is. The only downside is that the campaign is really short. However, if we think about it, it's all for the best. Short campaign is better because it gives the feeling of accomplishment and fulfillment, because unlike other games, you're not spending 100 hours in the open world hunting animals. Bright Memory is a great game if you want a few hours of action-focused gameplay. It's like a wild blend of FPS and hack and slash with a bit of everything thrown in. It's fast-paced, intense, and doesn't really give you a moment to breathe. The game throws you into these awesome battles where you're switching between guns and a sword, mixing up shooting and slicing with some flashy special abilities. Bright Memory isn't the most polished game, but it does make up for it with sheer adrenaline rush. If you want something that just goes full throttle from start to finish, then Bright Memory is a blast. Plus, the visuals are pretty impressive for an indie title, and it's cool to see what one person managed to pull off. The game also features a stunning looking main character. Honestly, I promise if you give this game a chance, you're definitely gonna love it, assuming you're in the market for some linear action fun. As Dusk Falls. You're in the right place if you are in the mood for some story-focused game where you're the one who's got everything in control. It's not just about watching a story unfold, it's about shaping it, which gives you this crazy sense of responsibility and connection to the characters. One of the features that you're probably not gonna like is the art style. It will take you some time to get accustomed to it. If this is your first time playing such a game, it has this painterly vibe which matches the heavy themes of the game. It will surely grow on you as you keep playing the game. The choices you make feel significant, sometimes even overwhelming, because you know they can completely change the direction of the story.
Stop! Why are you following me?
It's not just one of those games where choices are cosmetics, they really have weight. This is yet another reason to love this game because it makes you feel like you're building your own story. The replay value is also high as the game forces you to think about what would have happened if you made a different decision. It's intense, and sometimes it makes you pause and think, what would I actually do in this situation? Like me, if you're also into games where storytelling is key and every choice matters, as Dusk Falls is the perfect game for you. You need a moment to appreciate the story writing after finishing the game.
Family means sacrifice.
Shadow Warrior 3. This is perhaps one of my favorite underrated hack-and-slash games. I'm so glad that my friend recommended me this game. I remember asking him about some thrilling, fun games with less focus on the story, and I can confirm that Shadow Warrior 3 didn't disappoint me. You have got an awesome main character who likes to make jokes and even some cool punchlines. From start to finish, you'll see his hilarious side that will get you hooked. What makes the game stand out is the combat. I totally love how you play as one-man army beast with some of the coolest weapons and powers. Your only goal is to move forward while slashing through waves of enemies. You can blast enemies, torn them apart, stomp them, shoot them with a variety of guns, and of course, how can we forget the parkour-like movements? It's always amazing to see our character run and wall jump seamlessly. It really gives you a feeling that you're this fast-paced machine whose only purpose is to kill and fulfill the mission. Also, I would like to mention that there are 2 prequels as well. So, if you like the third one, then try the prequels as well. They are surely outdated in terms of graphics, but you're still gonna have the same old Shadow Warrior type of fun. The second part is a must-play as it features balanced graphics, gameplay, and combat. You can still have an awesome time playing the second part in 2024. Anyways, no need worry about the connectivity as all these games are kind of standalone, which means that you won't miss anything. So start your journey with the third or second Shadow Warrior. Before I reveal my final pick, here are some honorable mentions. The Outer Worlds. Let's talk about some space shooting fun. Here, you're basically a space mercenary visiting multiple planets and saving the world. You also get to meet some quirky characters, which kind of adds fun into the game as you're not some madmen navigating the hollow space. What really stands out is how the game plays out. You can talk your way out of situations, double-cross people, or just be a total jerk if you want. The companions you pick along the way have their own stories and quirks, and they'll react to the decisions you make, which adds a lot to the experience. Also, I would like to give a shout out to the cool slow motion mechanic that lets you target specific body parts. This actually adds some strategy to the combat. Overall, Outer Worlds will be a great pick if you're in the mood for some sci-fi action fun.
Not because we spent our entire budget on it. Back to the song.
Our next bonus game is the Plague Tale series.
What's happening to me, Lucas? I feel
I will always appreciate the developers for what they did with this game. Plague Tale is one of those games that you're either gonna hate or lose yourself in its environment and story. The journey is filled with emotions, struggles, raw scenes, and a perfectly paced narration. There are 2 parts and both of them are pretty great. I recommend starting out with Innocence, as this way in the sequel, you'll feel more connected with the characters while going deeper into the struggles of Amisha and Hugo. Plague Tale is a game that is mostly for the players who love a good story experience with a sense of realism. The next one is Kena Bridge of Spirits. Kena has got to be one of my favorite games just for the sake of the game's beauty. You will be shocked after seeing how stunning the game looks on PS5. Every picture or cutscene screams as if it's been upgraded to the max. You play as a little girl navigating your way and helping the spirits in a magical forest. But believe me, it's not easy as it sounds. The game does feature a decent level of difficulty which kind of balances the beauty level as you have got both Beauty and the Beast. Overall, if you are in a mood for some linear fun and want to experience something magically beautiful, then Kena will be a great choice. The visuals look gorgeous and the seamless transition from cutscenes to gameplay is always fun to watch. Pentiment. Pentiment is one of those games that really stands out as a unique gem in the gaming world. It's not your typical big budget spectacle. Instead, it offers a deeply immersive experience that's both intellectual and visually distinctive. This game feels like a passion project, a labor of love that's rich in history and storytelling. At its core, Pentiment is a narrative-driven adventure set in 16th century Bavaria during a time of significant religious and social upheaval. You step into the shoes of Andreas Mahler, a young artist navigating a complex web of intrigue, mystery, and historical context. The setting alone is enough to make you sit up and take notice. It's like stepping into a beautifully illustrated manuscript from the Renaissance era. What really makes Pentiment special is its commitment to historical detail and storytelling. The game blends a captivating narrative with RPG elements, allowing you to shape Andreas' background and influence the story based on your choices. It's not just about making decisions, it's about seeing those decisions impact the world and the people around you in meaningful ways. The art style is a standout feature. It's inspired by illuminated manuscripts, giving the game a unique, almost storybook-like appearance. The visuals are not just a gimmick, they enhance the storytelling, making every interaction feel like you're flipping through an ancient book. It's a refreshing change from the hyper-realistic graphics of many modern games. However, this game isn't for everyone. The pace can be slow, and the dialogue-heavy nature might not be everyone's cup of tea. If you're not into deep, historically grounded narratives or prefer fast-paced action, you might find Pentiment a bit of a slog. But if you're up for a game that encourages you to think and engage with a rich, detailed world, it's definitely worth your time. The educational aspect is intriguing too. The game doesn't just present historical facts, it integrates them into the narrative, making learning about the period feel natural and engaging. You'll find yourself picking up bits of history along the way without it feeling like a history lesson. In summary, Pentiment is a rare find in indie game with a deep, engaging narrative and a striking visual style. It's not just a game, it's an experience that offers something different from the usual fare. If you're in the mood for a thoughtful, historically rich adventure with a unique presentation, Pentiment should be on your radar. Alright, this finishes our list of the best 13 AA games that you absolutely can't skip because of how awesome they are. Some of the games here are better suited for the players who love deep storylines, while some will be perfect for action combat fans. One thing is for sure that you're gonna have a great time playing any of these games. All these titles prove that even AA games can be better than AAA titles. Anyways, if you have made it this far, then please subscribe as I'm close to reaching 21,000 subscribers, and join my Discord for helpful gaming content.
Can I get you some soap? Everyone loves soap.